Well, back we go. Welcome back, everyone. This week we're at Orr Lake, and it is so fucking hot today. Holy crap! I think the car said it was 34 degrees. Yeah, it was warm, and so yeah, the first scene you saw was we accidentally took a wrong turn, right? And as we were turning around, something happened to Chris, and it turned out like his bleeder tube was I think it's like the tube coming out of the rad had has got like pinched or cut or something. Something happened to it. So basically, he was pissing coolant all over his exhaust header, which was obviously making a lot of steam and looking pretty gnarly. And we were like, well, today's the day that's gonna get pretty hot. So we went back, and Paul and I just stayed out the way whilst Steve fixed it. Because him and Steve managed to fix it, and Derek looked on going, and me and Paul just stayed away because I ain't got a clue about that stuff. So we're in the woods today with Steve, Derek, Paul, and Chris, and you can see Steve ahead here on his 690, I think it is. Yeah, it's a 690. You've seen it a bit before, but he's got some new tyres, and he's getting out into the single trail on the 690. So what a madman! So much power. But you know, he handles these trails really well. He's been riding since he was a kid, like, of course he can handle it. I tried to hop over to the other side, but I went so slow there. I just fell in the rut. Didn't work at all. So today I was just like keeping back and trying to stay out of the dust because it's really, really dusty. That reminds me, I need to go change my air filter because all the previous rides has basically just been slightly muddy, no dust. So every time I open up the air filter, it's like it's kind of fine. Like doesn't really need a change. It's not that dirty. But after today, yeah, it's gonna need a change. Dusty. You can just see the dust being kicked up. And because it's so hot, the ground is basically just turned to like this sand. It's not great traction. But, you know, whatever, make it work. So we're going through here, going through the routes, going through the single trail, sorry, and it's kind of overgrown. Can't really see great, but in this section it's okay. In some of the other sections we got to really slow down because you can't see anything. He's managed to pick up some shrubberies, but he's also fine. Yeah, so this is just a casual ride early today, and then later in the afternoon, I say later in the afternoon, a bit in the afternoon, I went off ahead of the pack so I could just, you know, practice going a little bit quicker and trying to pay attention to like reading the path ahead, because right now it's just, well, there's no point me trying to go any quicker. I can't see, there's so much dust that's being kicked up. This clip here, obviously, is fine because we're just in the single trail, but in other sections, it's just so much dust. So yeah, here we go. I nip off ahead on the single track so I can get a bit of practice being a bit more aggressive. We also actually stuck the heart rate monitor on me, Paul's heart rate monitor, but unfortunately it didn't work. So after this entire single trail. Actually, we did it later on a different single trail, but whatever, I'm talking about it now. It didn't work. So, well, that's a shame. I was kind of curious to see what my heart rate would be. I suspect it's just maximum. When I'm riding like this, I suspect it's just maximum. The big difference is probably, compared to like the other guys, maybe when I stop, my heart rate will come down a little bit quicker. And if I'm riding a bit more casually, maybe my heart doesn't get as high. But we don't know, because the heart rate monitor didn't work, so that's a shame. Next time. So, having a good time riding through this single trail. Unfortunately, later on, I hit a bloody stump. It was just hiding, and I didn't think much of the off. I was like, it jammed into my shim, and I was like, that's a shame. I got a bit of a bruise from that, and then when I was taking my stuff off, I noticed that my knee brace had completely cracked on the other leg. I think it's because when I come off later, that I sort of just walk forwards, but I think I actually slammed my leg into my controls because I did beat my horn, and so it means I definitely flew forwards a little bit. I guess better that the knee brace broke than my leg, of course, but I'm just a little bit gutted because those are so fucking expensive. I have to think about what to do next. That's a shame. I mean, realistically, I'm still going to wear them over my knee pads because the shin guards and the knee protection is still superior, and it's like, you know, it's still superior to the knee pads by a mile. It's even in its broken state, but obviously I'm very aware that they're no longer anywhere near as protective as they would be unbroken. And I was looking them up, and they're all like handmade by Asterisk, and you know, like each one's made by with like this carbon poly epoxy cross. I don't know what it is. Some fancy material, I guess. Makes it strong and flexible, but not unbreakable, not indestructible. There we go. Jesus, mixing my words. So yeah, today I wasn't going super hard because this trail is kind of like a little hard to see around the corners, so I can't just be like I was at Baxter where I'm just like throttling through corners because there's just too much foliage. You can't see too far ahead, so you just got to take it a bit easy. I do like this place though. It's kind of bumpy and it's like left, right, and the single trail does go on quite some way. So that also actually got me a little bit worried because we already had one KTM breakdown today, but when I got to the end of this bit, I was sat there for about 10 minutes, and I'm thinking, well, usually after like 5 minutes, I'm starting to think like, where are the other guys? And I could hear a 4-stroke coming, but then it stopped, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I had heard another 4-stroke, or at least I thought it was the same 4-stroke. And then it started like revving really high, and I was like, oh, that's clearly not one of our guys in the single trail. Alright, just coming up now. I'm just about to hit that thing. You see it? Nope. Yeah, me neither. Yep.
Jesus Christ.
So I hit that. My shin hurts. I'm gonna move this thing out of the way so another person doesn't slam into it later on. Anyway, yeah. So as I was saying, oh, good looking bike. Shame it's tipped over. Anyway, as I was saying, I was waiting there. I could hear the 4-strokes coming, and it turns out it wasn't my group. So I was like, oh shit, I should probably start heading back, see what's going on. That's a fun little rock to ride over. And so as I was heading back, I bump into Chris and Derek, and I'm like, oh, where's Paul and Steve? And they're like, oh, we've been resting because they were getting too hot during the single trail and they needed a break. So I was like, oh shit. So I told them that they're about 2/3 of the way through. It wasn't too far to the end. So I said they can keep going and just finish off, and then I'll go back and try and find Paul and Chris. And as I was going back, discovered Paul, he by himself. I'm like, holy fuck, where's Chris? And it turns out, sorry, not Chris, where's Steve? And it turns out Steve's bike suffered some sort of electrical malfunction right at the start of the trail. Well, I mean, at least he's not hurt. Nobody was hurt, so that's fine. But another KTM down. It's starting to get this running theme with the KTMs. I'm shit talking. Like, obviously, every bike breaks down, everything gets problems in the end. It was just a bit gutted. It was like, oh man. But then also, we went back and had some lunch, and basically, it was just so hot. The sun is just pounding, and there's not a huge amount of shade in the Orr Lake car park, so we were just like hiding in this tiny little piece of shade, sweating. There's no wind. It was pretty brutal. We had another guy who managed to smash his bike up as well, so gave him some tools, helped him fix his stuff. Yeah. So I didn't want to go like too crazy and just break everything to pieces. The week before, my the lens for my tail brake light fell off, which was a bit annoying. I lost that. Never going to find that again. So I just put a little bit of glue on the around the LEDs, and I'll just keep going until those stop working, because it's like you have to buy a whole new unit apparently. And like, I don't really want to buy a whole new unit when the LEDs and stuff are still working. Just like this. I know you got to pay to play, but come on. So whatever. Like. It was so hot today as well. My the glue that was holding the GoPro to my helmet melted, so the GoPro's all like wonky and falling off. A little bit annoying. What a day. Oh well. Yeah, the glue held up fine. The brake light still worked. I mean, the running light stopped working, but I think that broke pretty quickly after the lens was lost. So yeah. At least the brakes work and the glue held. So that's one positive. Anyway, race next. So see you at Water 1.
Hello.